Hi there, welcome to the Amoretti Test Kitchen. My name is Lauren, and today we're going to be making a very fun, very chocolatey, and very summery recipe. We will be making s'mores whoopie pies using our S'mores Artisan Natural Flavor. We're going to use this in the shell to add a touch more of a s'mores, graham crackery, chocolatey flavor. And then in the filling, we'll be using our Toasted Marshmallow Artisan Natural Flavor. If you watched my videos before or you've ever talked to me, you know this is my all-time favorite product across the board on any of our product lines. Toasted Marshmallow is by far my favorite. Very delicious, very true marshmallow flavor. And also in the shells, we'll be using our Madagascar Bourbon Vanilla Extract just to add a touch more vanilla flavor. So let's get started. Our first step here is to sift our dry ingredients. So I have my sifter here. And this is very important, especially for this cocoa powder that we're using. A lot of the times when you use cocoa powder, it comes out clumpy. So you'll want to sift it before you put it in any of your recipes. So I'm gonna dump that in. I also have some all-purpose flour, some salt, baking soda, and baking powder. So I'm gonna sift these together, and then afterwards we're going to add in our graham cracker crumbs. Because the graham cracker crumbs are a little bit bigger granules, they are not gonna get through the sifter very well, so no need to put them in there. Ooh, very chocolatey. Now let's mix in our graham cracker crumbs. And this just gives that very true s'mores flavor. And we're just going to enhance that with our S'mores Artisan. And I'm just gonna give this a good whisk, and we're going to set that aside. Make sure everything is evenly distributed through our dry mixture here. And you can also use, I'm just using regular cocoa powder. If you want a even bolder cocoa flavor, you can use dark cocoa powder, which is also very good in this recipe. All right, perfect. I'm gonna set this aside, and we're going to move on to some of our wet ingredients. So all I have here is 1 egg, crack it in the bowl. In it goes, and some buttermilk. And I'm just going to whisk this together. And again, we're gonna set it to the side. All right, perfect. Setting this to the side. Next up, we're going to cream our butter here. And once it gets nice and fluffy, we're going to add in some granulated sugar and our S'mores Artisan. Our s'mores is a little bit of a thicker flavor, so depending on the type of recipe you're using it in, you may want to heat it up a little bit to make it more workable. But because I'm using a handheld mixer for this, I don't need to do that. It'll mix in very easily. And then I'm also going to be adding in some of our vanilla. So let me grab my beaters and we'll get this nice and fluffy. So I'm just gonna start off and cream our butter. And this is room temperature. I left it out overnight, so it is nice and soft. Perfect. I'm just going to scrape down the sides of the bowl a little bit, add in the sugar, and then we'll add in our flavoring. All right, in with the sugar. Just plain old granulated sugar. And I'm gonna combine this, and then we'll put in our flavorings. So start on low so you don't get sugar to the face. Now let's add in our flavorings. So I have 2 tablespoons here of our S'mores Artisan. I pre-measured it out because it is a little bit thick. It is a little bit harder to get out of the bottle. There we go. And you don't want to see me struggling on camera. Nobody wants to see that. All right, and our vanilla extract. I'm going to use just 1 teaspoon of this. And we'll give that a good mix. All right, there we go. So our next step here is we are going to marry all 3 of these together. We're gonna start with our dry ingredients. I'm gonna add a little bit in, I'm going to mix it, and then I'm going to add in some wet. And we're just going to rotate back and forth, and I'll probably take about 3 different mixes until we get a nice consistency here and everything is mixed together. I'm gonna mix this in, and then we'll add in our wet ingredients. All right, in with a little bit of the wet. Perfect, that's it. We're done with the batter. It's time to get this into a sheet pan and pop it into the oven. So I'm going to put this onto my sheet pan here. I have a tablespoon cookie scoop. If you don't have one of these, just a regular tablespoon will work just as well. And you want to make sure when you are putting these onto your sheet pan, leave ample room because they do spread. So I'm using a small oven, so this is only going to fit 6 shells. This is a really easy batter to work with. It's thick, it's smooth, and it plates very easily. And if you're not using parchment paper, just make sure you grease your pan very well because these will stick. Perfect. And so the last step in this, I like to make sure we have nice, perfectly round shells. I have here just a little bit of water. What you'll want to do is just damp your finger in it, and you can just press around your batter and just flatten anything that's sticking out or doesn't look nice and rounded. And especially if you're using an actual tablespoon measuring spoon, you'll really want to do this step because it is hard to get that out and make nice round dollops onto your pan. That's why I like using the cookie scoop, but I know everybody doesn't have that at home. If you're just making this and you have the basic tools for baking, you don't need it, but this really helps. All right, okay, these are looking great. We're gonna pop these into the oven about 10 minutes. It very much depends on your oven and where you're located. So I would say check around 7 minutes. If the top does not bounce back when you press it lightly with your finger, you know you need a little bit longer. So let's get these baked. Next, let's make our filling. We are going to start with a very basic American buttercream, but we are going to be flavoring it with our Toasted Marshmallow Artisan, which is everything but basic. It is such a bold marshmallow flavor, along with that nice browned, just roasted on a fire notes to it. It is absolutely delicious. Like I said, when we first started this recipe, this is my favorite flavor in all of our product lines. I use the syrup in my coffee. I use the artisan in pretty much everything, and the extract as well. Absolutely amazing. So I really hope that you give this a try along with our S'mores Artisan. This is just absolutely amazing to enhance flavors of any of your chocolate dishes. Throw it in a cake, throw it in some frosting. You can't go wrong with it. So the first step here to really make an American buttercream absolutely out of this world, you want to cream your butter. You want to make sure it's nice and fluffy before you add in the sugar. So let's start and cream our butter. I have 2 sticks here, and we're just going to give this a whirl. All right, perfect. Our butter is nice and creamed. I highly recommend doing this. It isn't 100% necessary, but this gives you a buttercream that has a very nice, smooth texture to it, rather than being a little bit more flat if you were to just combine everything right away. So let's add in our powdered sugar. I have 3 cups here. I'm just going to add in about half of this and adjust to taste. So it really depends on your palate if you want a sweet buttercream or something a little bit more mild. So you can even add more than the 3 cups if you want it a little bit sweeter. Also a pinch of salt, balance all those flavors. I'm gonna add a little bit of milk here. This is 1 tablespoon, I'm gonna add half of it. I'll probably use all of it, but just to start. I think I'm gonna add a little bit more of the powdered sugar here. I'm gonna use most of it. No, I guess all of it. And I'm gonna add the rest of our milk. I'm going to add in our Toasted Marshmallow Artisan, and I'll be using 1 tablespoon. So that's going to be adding a decent amount of liquid to our buttercream, so we may not need anything else. All right, so let's add in 1 tablespoon of our Toasted Marshmallow Artisan Natural Flavor. Oh my gosh, you guys, it smells so good. So good. And this too will add a little bit of color to your buttercream, so it kind of gives the illusion of a nice, right off the fire, crispy marshmallow. I'm gonna scrape this out because we don't want to waste any of this deliciousness. Oh my gosh, literally, I cannot express any more of like how good this smells. It is incredible. I feel like I'm at a campfire. Let's give it a mix. All right, beautiful. Our buttercream is done. I'm going to just fill this into a piping bag so it's ready when we fill. And I'm gonna bring back in our baked whoopie pie shells and we'll get to filling and decorating. So our whoopie pies are baked. Like I said, you can see how much they spread on your pan. So again, just really ensure you leave quite a bit of room for that to happen. I made my first batch of these and I think I put about 8 on this small little pan. Needless to say, it became one giant whoopie pie. So stick to what you feel comfortable with fitting for your desired sheet pan. And now let's fill them. I kind of had a wild idea, so I was going to dip these in chocolate and then sprinkle the inside with graham crackers. But you know what? We eat with our eyes first, so I thought it might look better to just fill them, top them, and then drizzle the chocolate and sprinkle with graham crackers. So that is what we're going to do. I haven't tried it, but I think it's gonna look much better. Let's flip them all over at first, make it easier. Use however much you desire. And then we'll get to decorating. I mean, this buttercream is so good, you really can't go overboard with it. I could just eat this as it is, but we're not gonna go there. I don't need a sugar rush today. All right, let's get the tops on here. Gently press it down. All right, I'm just gonna drizzle the top with a little bit of chocolate. This is just melted dark chocolate. Oh my gosh, yep, 100%. This is gonna look so much better than my original idea. Already looks super cool. Perfect. And let's just sprinkle them with a little bit of graham cracker crumbs. You know what might also be kind of cool on these? If you have like those dehydrated marshmallows, kind of sprinkle a couple on top, that would be kind of fun. I mean, this says you're about to bite into a s'mores whoopie pie. At least I think so. I think these look so cute. Super, super cute. And of course, you're gonna want to maybe pop these in the freezer or your refrigerator for a little bit to let that chocolate solidify before digging in. But there you have it. That was, you know, super easy. You know, it takes a little bit longer than the recipes I typically present to you guys, but this is really easy. I mean, anybody could make this recipe and it's absolutely delicious and it's a really fun recipe to kind of share with friends and family over the summer. I really hope you give this a try at home, and if you do, make sure you let us know in the comments below what you think about it. Also, be sure to subscribe to our channel so you never miss any new recipes, tips and tricks, or our testimonial videos from our amazing customers. You can also find us on social media at Amoretti on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, and Twitter. See you next time.